if it comes down to one ticket, which ultimately it'll come down to, will you step aside for somebody
there
like...
There is no question of stepping aside.
What I'm asking, I want to ask you a direct question now. If it comes down to that single ticket, will you step aside for Peter Obi, for example, if he's more popular? Yes or no?
I will step aside for any winner.
Right.
Yeah.
Including Peter Obi.
Of course, if he is a contender, why not?
I mean, he was your vice presidential running mate. Does that would that make it a bit more difficult for you to accept him coming?
What is difficult there is
well, I don't know. That's why
politics is either you go through democracy or you go through consensus. So
right.
What is there if he emerges through, consensus, or he emerges through electoral process?
Hi people, and welcome to Rethink Nigeria, where they bring you a good story. You heard what Atiku just said, that it's not just going to be stepping down for the person, anybody that emerges either by the means of election or by consensus, that is going to be supporting the person. I believe this man don't learn in a hard way, because he don't try. This is his 7th time. He has tried, I think he has tried 7 times. And I think based on what he talked for this interview, which I'm going to be playing part of it for you, is that this will be his last trial. After this one, he's not going to try again. And with what I'm saying, he might not even contest, because say the odd not in favor. The odd not in favor. The support base, he might get a lot of support base in the northern axis, but in support base not too strong like that, like the way it used to be. People like Konkoso and Peter Obi don't take that momentum. You should understand that. And support this combo, Peter Obi and Konkoso, because that's the best combo. If ADC must win, forget about people like Rotimi Amechi, or that one na support base. Do you understand that one are just a supporter? So if they really want to make ADC win and make the youth come out in their mass to vote for ADC, they should use that combo, which is Konkoso and Peter Obi. Peter Obi as president, Konkoso as the vice. Make Atiku not going to do anything he do 2023. When make Wike vow to scatter PDP, which is what is currently doing presently. Because during that time, when they say, let's zone this thing to the south, Atiku no agree zoning. He say he must contest. And when the contest come win that primary, now make Wike and when they come from G5 that time, because this G5, they are supporting APC. Why? Because APC candidate is from the south. That any member that is a southern member, they are going to support the person. So now we still understand that it still remains one tenure, which is 4 years for the southerner. So make Atiku not make the mistake by saying, okay, may they go on election, may come by and way through, come become the flag bearer. Otherwise, ADC will lose outrightly. They will lose outrightly. Even though these people said we are supporting any candidate that emerges, but what about the people that will vote for them? People that will vote for them are coming because of P2B. So they should understand that. Anyway, let me just allow you to watch this video.
But you are now aligned with the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, at a time when the party is facing legal battles as well as internal disputes. Do you believe that your presence on the ADC is building a viable platform, or are you joining a coalition that's already under terrible strain?
Charles, I must be frank with you. I am one of the initiators of this coalition, or perhaps the leading, initiator of the coalition, because I remember when the PDP lost the last election, I addressed the party. I said, I don't see a future for PDP unless there is a coalition, or a broad-based coalition or alliance. And the PDP leadership disagreed with me at that point in time.
What made you say that?
I said it because I studied, the political history of Nigeria, and I saw how alliances worked in the First Republic, in the Second Republic. I mean, so it is not difficult for one to to predict or to explain, to what I will say, students of, because I consider those young politicians as future leaders of Nigeria. So it's my responsibility to point out to them. And I pointed out to them that the only future for PDP is in broad coalition. And they disagreed with me. And the reason why they disagreed with me was simple. Simply because they didn't want to see my face, not what I was proposing. And now they have found themselves in the same position.
Yeah, but what I'm wondering is, what was it that made you say that the future of the PDP was only in the coalition, having yourself been a presidential candidate of the party?
I studied the political history of Nigeria.
No, I know, but that's a broad thing. I'm talking about specifically.
Yes.
What is it? What did you see in the PDP that there was a warning sign for you?
Because there was a decline in the popularity of PDP and the states they were winning. So there was a decline. There was no way, they could have won on their own without, a coalition.
Was there the nettlesome factor of Nyesom Wike there?
Well, I mean, in fact, more or less it was like a kind of gang up.
Gang up against you?
Possibly,
against the party?
Possibly against the party or based on their individual ambitions.
Right. Now, you're in the ADC coalition, as we said. I mean, is the coalition driven by a shared vision? And I'm coming off the back of what you just said about what happened in the PDP. And you've been in several political parties, including the APC. So you've got a very good sense of how parties come together and what makes them fall apart.
Yeah.
Is this coalition of the ADC driven by a shared vision or simply a shared determination to remove Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Let me say both, because Bola has been a very bad president, to be honest with you.
How so?
Because I didn't expect that from him, in the way he governs the country, whether economically or otherwise. It's a disappointment.
Right. Well, I'm going to return to that issue in a minute, because that's obviously important. But if the ADC is about vision, which you suggest that it is, can you clearly state what unites you beyond opposing the incumbent?
Well, a number of things unite us. For instance, the issue of deepening our democratic institutions and the issue of separation of powers under the Constitution. We feel very, very concerned about that. We have seen how virtually, a presidency has almost turned the various institutions that are supposed to be checks and balances, under one roof, which is quite dangerous.
Right. Okay, you've run for president now, as we said, multiple times. Some have called you a perennial contender. I'm sure you've heard that yourself a number of times. And you are aiming to run again in 2027. What, if anything, makes this attempt different from the others?
Different in what way, Charles?
Well, that's why I'm asking you that question. What makes it different from the other times that you've run?
What makes it different from the other times is that you have a more broader coalition now. You have elements from APC, from PDP, from NMPP, from Labour. That makes it a much broader, coalition than what even happened in the past before. Yeah.
But for you personally?
For me personally, I see a lot of future, because within the broad coalition, you see people of my generation, you see people below my own generation, and, down the line. So you can see clear, succession, pattern, imagine. Yes.
Wasn't that the same thing that happened in what was the APC coalition?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I didn't see it in the APC coalition. I left the APC quite early. Once I realized that they are going the wrong way, I left.
Some would say once you realize that your political ambition wouldn't be achieved.
No, not about that. It wasn't about the personal ambition at all. No, absolutely not.
So what was it about?
Quite a number of things. I mean, of course, you are dragging me to, start going into the administration of late President Buhari, and I wouldn't want to do that because he's late.
Right. Okay, understood. Let's return to the ADC, which is the matter of the moment. If a consensus candidate emerges within the ADC coalition, would you step aside in the interest of unity?
No, it's not the issue of stepping aside, but would I support?
Right.
What would I say in the coalition is that we will the first option will be to work out a consensus. If that doesn't, of course, emerge, then we go for direct president. I mean, I will support anybody who emerges.
Right. So either a consensus candidate, and that's the first option.
Yes, that's
Right.
the first option as far as the party is concerned. We will aim at consensus. If we don't get it, then we go for elections.
Right. That sounds like something that will be terribly disputatious.
I don't expect we will get to that level because we are dealing with really mature politicians and experienced politicians as well.
But you're also dealing with people with huge political ambitions.
Ambition, well, that's a different thing altogether. But we have all agreed that this is the way to save democracy in this country.
You now, of course, share that political space with figures like Peter Obi, Rabiu Kwankwaso, Rotimi Amechi, Nasir El-Rufai, Aminu Tambawal, and a host of others. I mean, some would say that this is not a partnership, this is a rivalry waiting to happen. Because if you ask many Nigerians, their concern is that this might collapse under the weight of competing ambitions.
Charles, clearly you can see that there is a generational progression there. So, I mean, if people of my generation don't get it, the people who may get it next may be the next generation. I mean, clearly you can see a generational structure there, and it's deliberate.
Right. If it comes down to one ticket, which ultimately it'll come down to, will you step aside for somebody
There
like...
is no question of stepping aside.
What I'm asking, I want to ask you a direct question now. If it comes down to that single ticket, will you step aside for Peter Obi, for example, if he's more popular? Yes or no?
I will step aside for any winner.
Right.
Yeah.
Including Peter Obi.
Of course, if he is a contender, why not?
I mean, he was your vice presidential running mate. Would that make it a bit more difficult for you to accept him coming?
What is difficult there is
well, I don't know. That's why I'm
politics
asking.
Is either you go through democracy or you go through consensus. So
Right.
what is there if he emerges through, consensus or he emerges through electoral process?
Right. Okay. Well, let me talk about something else, which